Ethan Cole, lived on the 10th floor of a crowded city building. His apartment was small, but he loved his balcony. He had a few plants, some pots with herbs, and a small table where he liked to drink his morning coffee. It was quiet up there, above the city noise, and it gave him a little peace in his busy life. One morning, as he sipped his coffee, he noticed something strange. A small, fluffy cat was sitting on the edge of the balcony railing. Its fur was white, with silver stripes that shimmered in the sunlight. Ethan had never seen this cat before, and it did not belong to any neighbor. He frowned but smiled. "Well, hello there," he said softly. The cat blinked at him with bright, golden eyes. Ethan went inside and grabbed a small plate of milk. He placed it on the balcony floor. The cat sniffed it carefully, then licked the milk quickly. It was gentle, like it had never eaten anything before. Ethan watched, curious. There was something strange about the way it moved. Its tail curled and uncurling seemed almost too perfect, almost deliberate, like it was thinking carefully about every step. From that day on, the cat returned every morning. Ethan started leaving food for it. He even gave it a small blanket to sleep on. He began to enjoy these quiet moments. The city could be harsh, and this little creature brought some calm to his life. He never asked why it had appeared, he just accepted it. One evening, as the sun dipped below the tall buildings, Ethan noticed something odd. The cat's eyes glowed faintly in the fading light. It looked at him for a long moment, almost as if it was trying to say something. He shivered slightly and shook his head. "I must be imagining things," he whispered. The next day, Ethan decided to watch it closely. The cat played with a small toy he had left, a piece of string tied to a stick. But then, something impossible happened. The toy moved on its own, sliding across the balcony floor without anyone touching it. Ethan jumped back, staring. The cat sat still, its eyes shining like tiny lanterns. It blinked once, then curled its tail calmly. Ethan rubbed his eyes. "Okay, I need to calm down," he muttered. But even as he looked away, he noticed something strange. The little cat had disappeared. The plate of milk was empty, but there was no sound of it leaving. No footsteps, no movement. It was gone, as if it had never been there. The next few days were even stranger. The cat returned, but not always at the same time. Sometimes it vanished for hours, only to reappear exactly when Ethan was alone. And each time it came back, it left something behind, a small, shimmering feather or a tiny scale, too light to be human. Ethan picked them up, turning them over in his hands. They sparkled faintly, reflecting colors he had never seen before. He tried to show his friend Mark, who lived in the same building, but Mark laughed and shook his head. "It's just a cat, Ethan. You're imagining things." Ethan frowned. Maybe he was imagining things, but the strange feathers, the way the toy moved, and the glowing eyes told him otherwise. Something was different about this creature. One night, Ethan stayed on the balcony longer than usual. The city lights flickered below, and the wind carried distant car horns. He held his coffee, watching the empty railing. Suddenly, a soft sound reached him, almost like a whisper. He froze. The little cat appeared silently, landing on the railing with perfect balance. It stared at him with those golden eyes. Then, something remarkable happened. Its body shimmered faintly, and for a brief moment, he could see tiny wings folded against its back. Ethan's mouth fell open. The cat blinked slowly and then, as if nothing had happened, curled up on the blanket he had left. It purred softly, a sound that was almost musical, not like any normal cat he had ever heard. He could not sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the faint glow of the wings and the way the feathers sparkled in his hand. Over the next few days, he watched it carefully. The cat seemed to understand him. It would come closer when he called softly, and it avoided anyone else. Even more strangely, It reacted to the city around them in unusual ways. Electronics nearby would flicker, streetlights would blink when it passed by, and Ethan noticed a faint warmth in the air whenever it was close. Ethan felt a mix of fear and wonder. He had never believed in anything magical. He was a man of facts and reason. But this little creature, it defied everything he knew. He started talking to it, even though it could not reply. "I don't know who you are or what you are," he said one morning, "but I'll keep you safe." The cat blinked, as if it understood. Its golden eyes reflected his own face, and Ethan felt an odd connection, a strange warmth spreading in his chest. He did not know it yet, but this small creature was not a cat at all. It was the last hope of a great and powerful being far beyond Earth, watching from the stars. And Ethan Cole, an ordinary man with a quiet balcony, had unknowingly become part of something much larger than he could imagine. Ethan woke early the next morning. The city below was still quiet, with only a few cars moving along the streets. He went to his balcony, hoping to see the little cat again. To his surprise, it was already there, sitting on the railing as if it had been waiting for him. Its golden eyes gleamed in the soft sunlight. He put down a small plate of milk. The cat sniffed it carefully, then drank slowly. Ethan smiled. "You're predictable, aren't you?" he said softly. But before he could move closer, something unusual happened. The cat's fur shimmered faintly, like light reflecting off water. Ethan blinked, unsure what he was seeing. Suddenly, a wave of warmth filled the balcony. The cat's body seemed to stretch slightly, and for a brief moment, Ethan could see the outline of tiny wings folded against its back. He gasped and took a step back. The cat tilted its head, watching him, calm as if nothing unusual had happened. Ethan rubbed his eyes. "This can't be real," he whispered. But deep down, he knew it was. The little creature was not normal. Days passed, and the cat grew bolder. It followed Ethan around his apartment, curling at his feet, watching everything he did. It seemed to understand him in ways no ordinary animal could. When Ethan worked on his computer, it would paw gently at the screen, stopping him from pressing certain keys. When he moved furniture, it would nudge objects subtly into place. One evening, as the sky turned orange and pink, a strange energy appeared above the city. A shimmering portal opened far away, high above the tallest building. Ethan noticed it first because the cat stiffened, ears flat, tail twitching. The portal glowed with a bright blue light, and a figure appeared within it. A massive dragon, enormous and glowing with a golden aura. The cat hissed softly and arched its back. Ethan froze. What is that?" he whispered. His heart raced as the dragon scanned the city below. The cat, which had always been small and fragile, crouched low on the balcony. Ethan noticed that its eyes reflected the same golden light as the dragon above. The realization hit him suddenly. You're not a cat, are you?" he asked softly. The little creature blinked slowly, tilting its head, as if acknowledging his words. Its fur shimmered again, and for a brief second, Ethan could see the outline of a dragon, small but perfectly formed, hidden within the soft white fur. Ethan felt a mix of fear and wonder. He had seen dragons in books and movies, but never in real life. And here, one had come to his balcony in the form of a tiny cat. He knelt carefully, holding out his hand. The creature stepped onto his palm, surprisingly light, and looked into his eyes. Ethan could feel a strange energy passing between them, warm and powerful. Above the city, the massive dragon hovered. It scanned every building carefully, searching. Ethan realized with a shock that this must be the parent of the little creature, the dragon queen herself. His mind raced. How had this tiny hatchling ended up on Earth? And why here on his balcony? The cat hatchling nuzzled his hand, purring softly. It seemed to trust him completely, even though it was far from home, far from its mother. Ethan understood then that he had a responsibility he had never asked for. He had to protect this creature, whatever it was. That night, Ethan stayed awake, watching over his new companion. The cat slept curled on the blanket, but Ethan noticed it made small, almost imperceptible movements. Tiny wings flexing, a tail curling in patterns he could not understand. He touched one of the shimmering feathers the creature had left behind earlier. It felt warm, almost alive, and a faint hum vibrated in his hand. Ethan realized that the hatchling was incredibly powerful, even in its small form. And he also understood that the Dragon Queen would not stop looking for it. It was her only child, her last hope, and she had likely been searching the universe to find it. Over the next few days, Ethan prepared. He moved plants to create hiding spots, covered windows with reflective foil, and even rearranged some furniture to make traps for anyone who might try to take the hatchling. Every evening, the creature sat beside him, watching, learning, and sometimes nudging him toward better solutions. It was strange, Ethan thought. A normal man like him, living in a small apartment, suddenly became a protector of a creature that could change the balance of worlds. He could not see it yet, but he felt the weight of the responsibility pressing on him. One night, as the city slept, the hatchling climbed onto his shoulder and whispered, not in words, but in feelings, warmth, trust, and a silent plea for protection. Ethan understood perfectly. He would do whatever it took to keep this creature safe, no matter the danger. Outside, the sky flickered, and the Dragon Queen hovered just beyond the horizon, watching. Ethan did not know it yet, but she was aware of his courage, his cleverness, and his humanity. And somewhere in the vast universe, a powerful being was beginning to respect humans in a way no alien ever had before. And so an ordinary man and a tiny dragon, disguised as a cat, began their journey together. One that would soon test courage, intelligence, and the strength of the human spirit against forces far beyond Earth. Ethan woke with a start. The city was quiet outside, but something felt wrong. His balcony door was slightly open. The hatchling, was crouched on the railing, tail flicking nervously. Its golden eyes glowed brighter than usual, almost like warning lights. He rubbed his eyes and stepped closer. The hatchling let out a soft, almost musical trill. Ethan froze. The trill was not a normal sound. It carried a strange feeling, urgent and powerful, almost like a message. Then the balcony vibrated slightly, a low hum that made his teeth tingle. Above the city, the sky shimmered. A massive shape descended slowly through the clouds. Ethan's jaw dropped. It was enormous. Wings spread wide, scales shining like polished gold, eyes burning with intelligence and authority. The Dragon Queen, Illithra, had arrived. Ethan's heart raced. He stumbled back, nearly hitting the table. What do you want?" he whispered. The hatchling leapt from the railing to his shoulder, bracing itself. It was tense, ready for anything. Ethan could feel its heartbeat, fast and strong, and it seemed to trust him completely. Illithra's voice entered his mind, not spoken aloud, but clear as if she had touched his thoughts. "I am Illithra. You feed my child. You do not know what you have taken into your care." Ethan's eyes widened. You can speak in my mind," he thought. The answer came as a wave of warmth and understanding. "Yes, my hatchling is far from home, vulnerable, and you have unknowingly given it safety." Fear surged through him. He looked at the hatchling, now quiet on his shoulder. He felt the weight of the situation pressing down. I don't know what I am doing," he admitted silently. "I just wanted to help." Illithra's mind spoke again, calm and commanding. "Your kindness is rare among your kind. That is why it lives. But danger approaches. There are beings who seek my hatchling for power. You must protect it, or all will be lost." Ethan's stomach turned. He had always lived an ordinary life: work, coffee, the balcony, and small routines. Now he faced beings beyond imagination. He thought of Earth, of ordinary humans like him. Could he really protect a dragon's last child? The hatchling nuzzled his neck, soft and trusting. Ethan felt a surge of determination. He would protect it. Somehow, someway he would. That night, Ethan moved quickly. He created hiding places around the apartment, covering windows with reflective foil to confuse any observers. He moved furniture to make traps for intruders and set small cameras to monitor the hallway. The hatchling followed his movements closely, its golden eyes shining with trust and intelligence. Ethan worked silently, realizing that his ordinary skills, engineering, problem-solving, careful observation, were suddenly invaluable. He rigged small gadgets to detect motion and set barriers. He even used his balcony plants to hide tiny sensors. Every step he took was careful and precise, knowing that even the smallest mistake could put the hatchling in danger. The city outside remained unaware. Cars hummed along the streets, lights flickered, and humans went about their ordinary lives. But above them, the Dragon Queen hovered, observing. Ethan felt a strange energy in the air. The hatchling twitched, then leapt onto the railing, wings flexing slightly. It was small, but he could feel its power. As midnight approached, Ethan heard a soft sound outside, a distant hum, like wings brushing the air. He peeked cautiously and saw shadows moving. He realized that Elithra was right. Danger was near. He gripped a small metal rod, something simple but solid, his mind racing for clever solutions. He would need to be smart, fast, and fearless. The hatchling climbed onto his shoulder, pressing its warm body against him. Ethan whispered, "We can do this. I'll protect you." The hatchling's response was a soft trill, almost musical, and Ethan felt a bond stronger than anything he had ever known. Suddenly, the hum outside grew louder. Shadows moved closer, shapes that were not human. Ethan's mind raced. He had to think quickly. He ran through scenarios, remembering lessons from his work, from problem-solving, and even from old adventure books he had read as a child. Every trick, every careful observation, every small gadget could be used. He remembered the reflective foil on the windows. He grabbed it and flashed a light at the shadows. Their movements faltered. He used his balcony plants to hide the hatchling, keeping it safe behind the leaves. Each step was deliberate, each motion calculated. The intruders paused, confused. Ethan realized something incredible. Humans might not be as powerful as dragons, but they were clever, inventive, and fearless when protecting what they loved. He could outthink beings far stronger than him. He could survive. He could protect the hatchling. Finally, the shadows retreated. The city returned to silence. Ethan exhaled slowly, the hatchling still clinging to his shoulder. He felt the weight of what had just happened. He looked up at the sky. Elithra had disappeared, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. The Dragon Queen had tested him, and he had passed. Ethan knew the journey ahead would be more dangerous, more uncertain, but he also understood one vital truth. Humans could face the impossible. With courage, intelligence, and determination, even an ordinary man could protect something extraordinary. As he settled back onto the balcony, the hatchling curled against him, purring softly. Ethan whispered, "We'll face this together. I won't let anyone hurt you." The little dragon blinked, golden eyes glowing, and for a moment, the ordinary balcony felt like the center of the universe. Somewhere, Elithra watched and acknowledged silently. This human, small and fragile as he seemed, was worthy, and the story of the hatchling and of Earth was just beginning. The next morning, Ethan woke, with the city still quiet below. The hatchling was already awake, perched on the railing and watching him with bright, golden eyes. It chirped softly, and Ethan smiled. "Good morning," he said. He reached out slowly, and the tiny dragon hopped onto his shoulder, curling comfortably. Its small wings twitched as it adjusted. Over the following days, Ethan learned more about the hatchling. It could understand him in ways he had never expected. When he gestured or spoke, it responded with small movements, chirps, and even soft purrs that carried meaning. He realized it could communicate feelings, trust, fear, curiosity, without words. Ethan decided to test its intelligence. He placed a small puzzle box on the table, something simple he had built for fun. The hatchling studied it quietly for a few moments, then used its tiny claws to manipulate the pieces. It solved the puzzle faster than any human could, finishing in seconds and looking up at Ethan as if to say, "There. Easy." Ethan laughed nervously. He had never seen anything like it. At first, it was exciting, almost magical. But he soon realized the danger surrounding them was growing. The shadows from before had returned, moving closer to his building. Ethan watched them from the balcony, hidden by the plants and reflective foil. The hatchling stayed close, wings folded but eyes alert. He could feel its tiny body tense as the intruders approached. Ethan took a deep breath. He had prepared for this. Using his engineering skills, he activated small mechanisms he had rigged around the balcony. Tiny traps and lights confused the intruders, slowing them down. The hatchling watched, purring softly in approval, and Ethan felt a rush of pride. They were a team now. The bond between them grew stronger each day. Ethan fed the hatchling, cleaned its small area, and even talked to it like it was a person. It responded with chirps, nudges, and the occasional playful nip. He realized he cared for it as deeply as he had ever cared for a living being. It trusted him completely, and in return, he trusted it to warn him, guide him, and even protect him when necessary. One afternoon, a loud crash echoed from the balcony door. Shadows appeared again, this time closer than ever. Ethan's heart raced. He grabbed a small metal rod for defense, while the hatchling flared its tiny wings, making a soft, glowing shimmer that lit the balcony. The intruders froze for a moment, startled by the sudden light and energy. Ethan acted quickly. He used small mirrors he had placed around the balcony to reflect sunlight into the eyes of the intruders. They recoiled, giving him time to move the hatchling to safety behind a stack of plants. The little dragon chirped encouragement, then leapt from hiding and glided just a few feet above the balcony floor. Its wings were small, but the movement was fast and precise. Ethan realized then something incredible. The hatchling was not just strong or magical, it was clever. It used its own abilities to help him, just as he used his human intelligence to help it. Together, they could face dangers neither could handle alone. After the intruders retreated, Ethan sat on the balcony floor exhausted. The hatchling curled against his chest, and he ran a hand through its soft, shimmering fur. "We make a good team," he whispered. The little dragon purred, a sound so gentle and musical it made his chest feel warm. As days turned into nights, Ethan continued to learn. The hatchling could sense things before he could. It warned him of approaching shadows, reacted to sudden sounds, and even guided him to safer paths around the apartment. Its trust in him was complete, and in return, he gave it safety, warmth, and patience. One evening, Ethan looked at the city skyline and thought about the Dragon Queen. Elithera had watched him from afar, assessing his courage and cleverness. He wondered what she thought now. He knew he could never match her power, but he also knew something important. Humans could survive, thrive, and protect what they valued through intelligence, courage, and resourcefulness. The hatchling chirped and nudged his hand, as if sensing his thoughts. Ethan smiled. "We're ready," he said softly. "No matter what comes next, We'll face it together." Its wings twitched, and a faint shimmer of light spread across the balcony. Ethan understood then what made humans special. They were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most powerful, but they were clever. They could adapt, invent, and persevere. And with determination, even an ordinary man could protect the last hope of a mighty dragon queen. That night, as the city lights flickered below, Ethan and the hatchling sat together on the balcony. He watched its tiny form, wings folded neatly against its back, eyes glowing softly. He felt a sense of connection deeper than anything he had known. It was more than companionship. It was partnership, trust, and a shared mission. Somewhere far above, Elithra watched. Her eyes glimmered with approval. This human had not only proven courage, but also the cleverness and spirit that she respected. The hatchling had chosen well. Ethan's simple acts of kindness had become a bond strong enough to survive cosmic threats. And in the quiet night, the balcony felt like a small command center at the center of the universe, where an ordinary man and an extraordinary hatchling prepared for the adventures, dangers, and triumphs that lay ahead. Ethan woke to the sound of soft winds brushing against the balcony railing. The hatchling was already awake, perched on the edge, eyes glowing faintly in the early sunlight. Ethan rubbed his eyes and smiled. Over the past days, they had become inseparable. He had learned its moods, its quirks, even the way it understood him without words. But today, something felt different. He could sense it in the air, a quiet tension, a shift that made his heart beat faster. He stepped onto the balcony carefully. The hatchling chirped softly and nudged his hand. Then, without warning, the sky above the city shimmered and rippled like water. Ethan froze. A massive figure descended from the clouds, wings spread wide, scales gleaming gold and silver. The air vibrated with power, making the balcony floor tremble slightly. It was Elithra, the Dragon Queen. Her eyes locked on Ethan, golden and deep, filled with both curiosity and authority. Ethan swallowed hard, unsure if he should speak. The hatchling leapt onto his shoulder, curling close to him as if offering reassurance. The Dragon Queen's voice entered his mind, clear and commanding, yet strangely gentle. "Ethan Cole, you have cared for my child. You have protected it with courage and cleverness. You have acted with a humanity that is rare in your species." Ethan felt a mix of fear and awe. He had never imagined speaking directly to a being so powerful. I just wanted to keep it safe," he thought, voice trembling in his mind. "I never expected—" "I know," Elithra replied, "but your actions have proven that humans can be worthy. You have shown ingenuity, loyalty, and strength. You understand the value of life, even when it is not your own." Ethan's chest tightened. He looked down at the hatchling, now fully awake, wings twitching slightly. It chirped softly, and Ethan realized that it had been communicating the same message all along, trust and hope. "I offer you a choice," the Dragon Queen continued. "I can leave your world untouched, but I wish to share knowledge with you. Your species has potential, but only those who act with courage and wisdom can shape it." Ethan hesitated. He had lived an ordinary life, solving small problems and enjoying quiet moments. The thought of receiving alien knowledge, of being connected to a cosmic being, was overwhelming. But he looked at the hatchling, its golden eyes full of trust, and he nodded slowly. "I will learn. I will protect what I can." Elithra lowered her massive head, her eyes softening. "Then you shall have my gift, not as a tool, but as trust. Protect life, act wisely, and teach others to value courage and ingenuity." She touched the hatchling with her enormous claw, and it shimmered briefly, growing slightly larger, stronger, more confident. Ethan watched in awe. The hatchling, his small companion for so many days, now looked even more majestic. It flapped its tiny wings experimentally, then perched on his shoulder, nudging him as if to say, "We are ready." The dragon queen hovered above, her massive wings creating gusts of wind. Ethan felt the energy radiating from her, immense but controlled. She spoke one final time. "Humans are small, fragile, yet clever, persistent, and courageous. Remember this. Your species has the power to influence the cosmos in ways you cannot yet imagine." Then, as silently as she had appeared, she vanished into the sky, leaving behind a faint trail of shimmering light. Ethan exhaled, staring at the clouds that slowly returned to their normal color. The hatchling chirped and stretched its wings fully, small but radiant. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest he had never known before, a mix of pride, awe, and hope. Together, they had survived dangers far beyond Earth. They had outsmarted beings who sought power and protected life in its most fragile form. Over the next days, Ethan and the hatchlings settled into a routine once again. But everything had changed. He now understood that even ordinary humans, through courage, cleverness, and compassion, could earn respect from beings far stronger than themselves. His world felt bigger, connected to a universe he had never dreamed of. One evening, as the city lights flickered below, Ethan looked at the balcony. The hatchling perched nearby, golden eyes glowing softly. He reached out and stroked its soft, shimmering fur. "We did it," he whispered. "We made it through." The hatchling chirped in agreement, small wings twitching. Ethan realized something profound. Humans were not the strongest, nor the fastest, nor the most powerful, but they had heart, intelligence, and resilience. With these, they could face the impossible and succeed. Somewhere far above, Elithra watched silently. Her gaze was approving, and a faint smile seemed to touch her massive face. This human, small and ordinary as he seemed, had shown what humans could truly achieve: courage, ingenuity, and loyalty that could stand beside the greatest forces in the universe. Ethan turned to the hatchling, now more majestic, but still small enough to perch comfortably on his shoulder. "The world is bigger than I thought," he said softly. "But with you by my side, I think we can face anything." The hatchling chirped, nuzzling him. The city below continued its ordinary life, unaware that a human and a dragon hatchling had just proven that humanity, though small and fragile, could rise to meet cosmic challenges and earn the trust of a dragon queen. And for Ethan Cole, the ordinary man with a quiet balcony, life had changed forever. The journey had just begun, and together, he and the hatchling were ready for whatever the universe might bring.